How y'all doing? Let me look. I know somebody. I see some familiar faces, you know. This side coming or they oh, okay. Yeah. I'm good, man. I'm good. Hey, we gonna have a treat. We're gonna have a treat today, you know. Yeah. We're gonna have a treat. Some kind of way we're gonna get y'all involved. Those that want to be. This thing is volunteer. You know what I mean? We got some couple of questions that we want to ask everybody, you know, kind of get everybody involved in it. And then we got like 10 speakers. For those that can count, you know what I'm saying? But anyway, who tired of going to jail, coming to jail? You know? Hey, who tired of coming to jail? You know? Y'all tired of coming to jail. So the question is, what are you gonna do about it? Yeah. Good answer. Huh? Well, what you call regularly? Yeah. But some come like 8, 9, 10 times. You know what I'm saying? You know, the last time I've been to jail, it was 35 years ago. Yeah. That's what I'm talking about. I'm just talking about being consistent with it. You know what I'm saying? Because I was in here just like went to jail 7 times and did a bit 1 time. You know what I mean? Almost 7 years. You know what I mean? So what? I made myself tired of doing this shit. You know what I'm saying? I made myself tired. You know? But in order to change, what about y'all? All of y'all, this y'all first time coming to jail? It's your first time. Everybody else been here 2, 3, 4, 5 times. You've been here before. You know what I mean? You tired yet? You tired yet? Because what we doing is we trying to offer something to keep you from doing this. You know? A lot of y'all look young. Y'all need to understand, man, it's some people in the system that's old because they repeatedly doing this stuff, man. You know? What's going on? I know him. What's going on? Everybody good? All right. Yeah. Same question I asked them. Who tired of going to jail? Yeah. Who tired of going to jail? I'm telling you, you know, as I was coming in here, you know, 2 or 3 things that was going on, you know, as I was coming in here. First and foremost, the ride down here was a beautiful ride. Watching the trees, watching them doing the work out there on the highway, you know what I'm saying? And it just reminded me of myself. You know, most people know, man, I just had surgery. When I look at the scar, when I look at the incision, that thing look like it's healed. It looks like it's healed, you know, but it ain't. It ain't completely healed. I compared that with myself. I compared that with y'all. How you can come in here and, man, get that look back. You come in here and get that look back. You know, your hair be tight, arms and shit be tight, and you think you're all right. All you've done is cover up the inside. Cover up the inside. And you know what? That shit is dangerous. That shit is dangerous. Because you started telling yourself, I'm all right. Man, I thank God, man. I thank God I got something and somebody in my life to tell me I ain't all right. I need that. This brother right here, man, I just told him, man, I saw him at West. And I saw him at one group. Now here it is. Normally when I see him at group, man, he's very active, got a nice attitude, got a nice smile and all that. And I come in the group and I see him, he looked like he had lost his best friend. Immediately, I said, man, something ain't right with that brother. Something going on with it, you know? And the next time I see him, he was here. You know, and the statement that I made earlier, man, thank God I got somebody in my life to tell me, man, when I ain't all right. Because we trick ourselves off, man. A whole lot of times, man, we'll trick ourselves off, man. Telling ourselves that we all right when we ain't all right. You know? I got kids in my life today and said, Dad, what's wrong? First thing I say is nothing, you know? But they know, and people around you know. They done seen your behavior. Man, I remember going to a group of parents at McShin. The parents had a group, and their kids were participants in McShin. And two of the parents, right? One of the parents had to quit her job because her daughter was out there using and she couldn't work past 3 hours out of the day. She couldn't work, man, for thinking about her daughter because she didn't want to get that dreaded phone call or that police coming to the door. I mean, this shit is real, man. This shit is real, man. This shit is about our life, man. We can come in and we can think it's a joke. You know what I'm saying? And I tell you, my recovery has been what I call redemption. Because my mother, as I know, went through the same thing with me. Went through the very same thing with me. You know? I'm out there in the street, I'm telling my mother all this bullshit. Mom, I got it. I can handle myself out there. I ain't scared of the dark. You know what I'm saying? I know what I'm doing. I done been in jail 7 times and been to the penitentiary once. Obviously, I ain't know what I was doing, you know? But man, my mother, and it ain't got to be your mother. It can be your sister, brother. It can be other relatives, you know, that's concerned about you. That's concerned about y'all. They know the shit that goes on in the street. I remember the period, man, when, you know, I'm like this. Young girls was coming up dead. Young guys was, boom, putting a gun to them. And I'm thinking, you know, me, I'm from the street. They ain't got to shoot them. They ain't got to kill them. They can beat them. They physically, it ain't no match. But that's how crazy shit got. You know what I mean? I thank God, man. Look here. My life changed when I had a daughter. I'm telling you. And it changed again. I ain't been in jail in 35 years. If somebody do something to my daughter, all bets off. That's what I'm talking about. Because I know my daughter. My daughter ain't out there messing with nobody. You know what I'm saying? This ain't her. This ain't part of her life. I got to say, man, I love that girl. My daughter graduated from UVA and then went to Georgetown Law School. And what motivated her was me getting locked up them 7 times. You know? My daughter tells her mother, one day I'm going to become a lawyer because my daddy going to need my help. I mean, I find that out, it was like 7 or 8 years after being in recovery. That wasn't nothing to me to be proud about. Not then, no way. You know what I'm saying? I had some feelings about that. You know, my addiction to screw that child up. You know what I'm saying? You know, my addiction to close some doors for her. You know? And when we caught up in addiction, we think it's all about us. It ain't about the kid, it's all about us. I'm here to tell you, it's about the child as well. It's about other family members as well. Man, you talk about having a God of your understanding. I prayed and prayed and prayed. Let me redeem myself for my mother. Because I know what that woman went through, man. I know what she went through with a doubt addiction. My dad left when I was 14 years old. Left my mother to take care of 3 kids. 3 kids. And that woman did it, man. She did it. And then I get out there and started acting like a goddamn fool. You know? Man, when it all ended, my mother said, I want him to have my power of attorney. Thank God for recovery. You know? And my point, like I went to earlier, man, is that, man, not only is that just afforded to me, it's afforded to anybody. You know, it's afforded to anybody. Man, but there's some work involved in it. And let me tell you, when I came in here, when I come in, just finish the story. When I came in, I walked up to the window right there. I had my driver's license to give to the CEO. Put my driver's license there, and the dude act like he didn't even see me. You know? So, I mean, for a minute, I'm going to get an attitude. And then I started thinking about y'all. You know? Man, this is an everyday occurrence. You know what I'm saying? Don't let no bullshit pull you out your square. You know what I'm saying? Don't let no bullshit pull you out your square. Just like I said before, it ain't all about me all the time. It's about other people. You know? So then I was like, I just tapped on the window. Hey, sir, I'm here for the Maxian program. That's the kind of shit I'm talking about. That's the kind of shit I'm talking about recovery. Changing my ideas and my attitude. That's what it talk about. Changing my ideas and my attitude. You know? It ain't about me. Who the hell am I? You know? And man, I just understand from that I'm well on my way. Man, everything that I have wanted, I got it. And I'm still living. You know? What I recognized early on in the day was that I'm happy. Man, I ain't chased no goddamn drugs 35 years. I know how, hey look, man, let me tell you something. How this thing work right here. You know, that shit, you don't forget that shit. You better have something to replace that shit with. This is why we come here, man, to try to drop nuggets on you that you can carry with you. Drop some nuggets so you can carry with you. It ain't like y'all done forgot how to get high. Hey, some of y'all in here don't even have an urge to get high. Not right now, because the disease is waiting. Soon as you leave this mother, 2 days later, God damn it, there it go. You know what I'm saying? The trigger comes. Then all of a sudden you be like, man, where'd that come from? You know? But this shit right here, man, you don't forget some of that dirty, stinking, grimy shit that you did out there. You don't forget that. But we show you how to work through that shit, man. All my life, man, I've heard people on the street talking about, man, how do I get clean? How do I stay clean? You know? For me, I ain't know nothing about 12 steps. 12 steps. I ain't know nothing about that. The first step is about honesty. You know? Being honest with yourself. Being honest with who you are. We had a speaker in here the last week, man. He was talking about, man, being a fraud. You know, you ain't got to be a fraud no more. You know what I'm saying? Find out who you are. You know? Man, I love coming down here. You know why? Because I mentioned I've been to jail 7 times. I done did a bit. And this is my way of giving back. Man, I know God put me here for a reason. You know? Put me here for a reason. I might not touch everybody. I ain't trying to touch everybody. It's one individual in here, 1 or 2 individuals in here. That's who I'm trying to touch. You know? I just made that statement to John. Hey, John, let me tell you what pleases the heart. When you touch some people directly and then others, you touch them indirectly. The thing about it is, man, we got a platform now where we can touch people, you know, rather than hurting and killing people. You know what I'm saying? Part of why I'm happy today is because I got friends that are happy. I got friends that are doing good. You know, ain't no hating in my heart, you know. Man, so like I said, we got a treat for y'all. We got a treat, you know. I'll be back. I ain't gonna let you go that easy. I'll be back. I got a couple more questions for y'all. You know what I'm saying? But then we got 10 guys over here. They're gonna come up, share a little bit. Some of them don't want to share for 5 minutes. So I took like a minute of their time. You know what I'm saying? You know. So I'm gonna bring up John. Come on, John. Hey, this is my best friend. This is my best friend. This is my golf partner. Yeah. Oh, you got a mic.
Oh, that's right.
Dog. Yeah.
I'll give it up for Marshall one more time. I eat dinner every night. You know, I say it all the time, but it really is a pleasure and honor to come down here, believe it or not. And I'm amazed. I had a different experience than Marshall coming down the gate here. We just put our IDs in the window and just walked over to the other door, and the door opened up. We didn't have to wait or say nothing. So same night, different experience. Lieutenant, thank you so much for organizing and letting us come up in here. And I was watching y'all pile in tonight, and I was thinking, man, that is a disciplined, respectful group of men and women coming up in here. Take the time out from your busy day to come out, get some sunshine, breathe the fresh air, come across the boulevard. I was really proud of the whole setup, to be honest with you, because I've told you before, I've been around the nation and a lot of the free world in prisons and jails, and there's something special going on here. Now, it may not feel so special for some of you, but I know some of you, you can feel something going on. And I'm here to tell you what that something is. Deep down inside of us, we all have a spirit, whether you like it or not or know it or not. And sometimes when you sit still and you get the drugs out your body and your mind and you start thinking, you watch what's going on, you get that spirit stirring in here. Marshall touched on it. And there ain't nothing like a spiritual awakening. I'm not saying religious. I don't confuse this with Sunday morning preacher now. We were all created with the spirit inside of us. Drugs and alcohol will crush that spirit. What we do will crush that spirit. But for whatever reason, y'all have an opportunity to wake that spirit up. And I invite you to wake it up. And I'm going to ask yourself, son, what do you think your life would look like? Let's say you don't drink or do drugs for the next 5 years. What do you think can happen in your life over a 5-year period without, going back to active addiction? Think about that. I know one thing, a lot of y'all will have a lot more money in your pocket. Drugs are expensive. How much do they cost you? At this point, I can say probably all. It costs you everything you had, your freedom, your liberties, the community. Ain't nothing like community. I love, Marshall spoke about community, family community, things going on in his life. You guys don't want to miss that. I mean, as bad as you might have thought it was, it ain't really that bad. I actually like the freedom and liberty to ride around, choose where I want to eat, hang out with the people I want to hang out with, do the charitable stuff I want to do. I get to pick, who gets to pick what jail they go in and out of on any given day, Big change from the old days. I didn't get to pick the jail. Damn sure didn't get to pick when I got out. I mean, it is something to be able to come down here and leave in the same night. Y'all should try that sometime. You're going to like it. It's a lot better than what you're used to. Now, you know, y'all are exposed to information here in education. I know it's a tough environment, you know, to stay focused all the time. You know, maybe pick and choose your moments of focus, but you got stuff to look at and read back there. I know you got groups. You get to talk to each other. You know, you really seriously try a recovery lifestyle. Just try it. You won't be disappointed. Everybody I know that tries this lifestyle and don't go back to where they came from, all those people do not regret it. The folks that keep, you know, chipping and dabbling and they end up back in active addiction, they all regret that. Anybody in here? I mean, you can't like being here. But what I'm saying is you don't have to come back no more. You really don't. Being on the outside is not that bad. You're going to like freedom. You're going to like liberty. You're going to like, you know, think about how many days in a month. What are my favorite days? Well, twice a month, you know, well, I'm retired now, so I don't really make no money unless I go out there and hustle it. But I used to like getting paid twice a month. 2 happy days in a month, you know. You know, I like, hell, every day is a Friday for me anyways, you know. I mean, Mondays went away a long time ago. You know, we didn't get a speaker tonight, but we come in here. A lot of us come regular. Some of you are probably wondering, who are these guys? Well, tonight's their night that they get to tell you a little about who they are. And they said, well, man, I don't have a story you and Marshall got. I said, look, all you got to do is go out there and talk for 5 minutes. Give them your best hope shot for 5 minutes. You know what I mean? There's so much hope in this group of men right here. And I think it's kind of a treat you get to hear from each one tonight. And just, you know, just keep an open mind, stay focused. And I promise you, you'll walk out of here tonight with a little bit more than you come in here with. And you got to admit you enjoyed the walk tonight. This is a nice night to be out. So I'm going to just go right down the line. I see Gavin sitting over there. Come on up here, Gavin. While Gavin's working his way up here, I happen to know that Gavin's a United States Navy veteran. He was a nuclear engineer. He's also a pretty well put together dude. I met him when he was a 15-year-old pot smoking hippie in his mama's garage. I told his mama then, I said, that boy's an addict.
It's a true story.
I'm going to see him in jail one day. Well, here he is in jail one day.
Well, yeah.
All right, it's all yours, baby. Don't blow.
It.
Give me a hug.
Love you, man.
Love.
Hey, everybody, I'm Gavin. Never thought I'd be here voluntarily. Like John said, he was the first person ever to tell my parents that I was an addict. And I've never been to East, but I have been to West a few times. Didn't come in through the front door. All I can say is addiction is a mental, physical, and spiritual disease. And being here, I mean, it's a lot easier to get clean than being out there. And with time, clean, physically, you'll naturally get better. Mentally, you'll get more clear, but it's the spiritual part that John was talking about that really is important. And that's where the step work is really important for me. I think that every human being has something in their heart that can only be filled spiritually. And my disease personally, I try to fill that with people, places, and things, namely drugs and alcohol, but it can be gambling, it can be women, it can be food, it can be relationships, it could be anything other than spiritually. And what I mean by spiritually is just being a good person, doing the right thing for the right reasons, really makes my life much better. And it takes that need to fill that void away. And so really gratitude is the one thing that I can stress the most, is instead of wishing for the things that I don't have, it's being grateful for the things that I do have. I mean, my family for the last few years, the only time they ever saw me or spoke to me was when I was in the hospital. And now I actually am able to have a relationship with them. I'm able to build new relationships, keep them, and they're not bullshit relationships. They're actually real relationships with people who don't want anything from me. I don't want anything from them. It's just good, clean living, and I'm just very grateful today. I'm grateful for the opportunity to come here every other week and hear Marshall and John speak. I'm grateful just for the opportunity to wake up in the morning and not have to worry about being sick and not have to worry about where my next high is coming from. And I have hope for every one of you that when you get out, you can go into the world and live a better life and enjoy it without the use of drugs and really be comfortable in yourself and find that spirituality that I found. So thank you.
How y'all doing tonight? My name's Jay. I'm an addict. I've got the least amount of clean time of any of these guys. I don't even know how many days I've got because I learned in jail not to count my days because I didn't know how long, the days got longer. So my clean date is 2/5 of this year. So when I got the machine, I didn't know what to expect. It was I just kept my mouth shut and tried to learn. But what they taught me is that all of us are the same. You ain't got to prove yourself to nobody. You don't have to run around trying to, help anybody get a hit or anything or try to get a hit from anybody else. You just, same people, you just equals. So I'm up here now. This is the first time I was spoken from anybody. So they taught me so far, just how to live life without using a drug or alcohol. I've been rock climbing. I've never been rock climbing, would have never went to a rock climbing event in my life. But they took me rock climbing and it was awesome. So learning to live life without a drug is probably the best journey that I've ever done in my life. And you don't have to live like we did in the past. You don't have to use anymore. You just learn to live life without drugs, and life gets so much better day by day, one day at a time. You just learn to love yourself, love life. And I've got 4 kids that I hadn't seen since I've been here the 45, 50 days that I've been here. And I chose to make sure that I'm straight before I go see my kids because my kids deserve to see the person that they deserve to have. So, but like I say, every one of us can get the exact same thing. We don't have to use no more because we're all addicts, all alcoholics, and we just want a second chance to be there for our families or whatever, and learn the things to be there for our families like we want it for ourselves. So if y'all want a better life, put it in your head, ask God to help you, and never pick up a drug again, one day at a time, and keep on. And if you can get in McShin, it'll be the best program you ever had in your life. Thank y'all for letting me speak.
Hey, what's up? I'm Anthony and I'm an addict. So, when John was talking, I was thinking about something that a close friend of mine told me a few months ago. So, a few months ago, one of my friends, he asked me a question. What would I rather have? $10,000 in the bank right now, just right this instant, or would I like to have freedom? And I wasn't really thinking about it in like the sense that he wanted me to. I was thinking about it in like just thinking back to when I was using. What would I rather have? Would I rather have all that money when I was using, or would I rather be free from the pain and the strife of active addiction and of that lifestyle and of the using life? And I ended up just instantly telling him freedom. And he's like, "Well, I would have given you 10 grand." So, I mean, I don't think he really would have, but anyways, the reason why I brought that up is because I know that thinking back to when I was using, I definitely really hated my life. I hated myself. I hated who I was. I hated the things that I was doing. And I just, and I eventually got to the point where I was just using to die. And I was just getting high, hoping that that next one would be the one that would kill me. So, I was telling someone else, I was telling quite a few people actually that um, this past Thursday was 2 years since the last time that I overdosed. And looking back to what I was doing this past Thursday, I was at an awards banquet for McShin. And I would have never thought that 2 years ago, when I was in the ER at UVA, that I was going to then 2 years later be at an awards banquet for McShin, a recovery organization. So thinking about that, like it shows me how everything just comes full circle. Everything just comes right back. And in recovery, you can get that. In recovery, you can experience things like that where you're looking back on your life X amount of days from when you last used or years and realize like, dang, like I'm now in a totally different place in life now than what I would have ever imagined. So today is 11 days until I celebrate 2 years clean. And I'm saying that because 2 years ago, I would have never thought that I would have been able to leave my drug of choice alone, or any substance for that matter, alone for 2 years. I mean, I didn't even think that I could go 2 minutes without picking up and putting one in me. But today, I realize how easy that is if I just do what I need to do to fill my spirit and feed my spirit for my recovery, and do things like hanging around newcomers and teaching them what was so freely given, the knowledge that was so freely given to me, and showing them the things that I learned throughout these last 2 years, and going to meetings, doing my morning meditation every morning, and reading the Just for Today and the spiritual principle of the day every morning when I get up, and giving back the things that was so freely given to me. And I mean, my sponsor will tell you that I do have the tendency to spend my last $20 feeding a newcomer and let myself suffer and starve, versus me saving that money and just bringing that newcomer to a meeting and sharing some knowledge with him, which that's something I'm still working on. I'm definitely still working on my financial unmanageability. But I know that today there's actually hope compared to 2 years ago when I was in the hospital at UVA, just shocked that I actually lived, and quite honestly upset and pissed off that I had actually survived that overdose. And it's also just amazing that today I'm working on things like I'm starting to try and kickstart a career. I'm 21 years old and I'm trying to start a career. I don't think there's very many other 21-year-olds out there that can say that they're actually trying to start a career and do something with their life. And I also don't think that there's many people that have had the experiences that I've had in my life that can say that at my age, they're doing the things that I'm doing. So I did speak in here about a month and a half ago, and I told the people who were here that I'm transgender. I was born female, but I've medically and socially transitioned to male. And the experiences that I've had throughout my life doing that and transitioning are things that I've had people tell me that they probably would have successfully committed suicide a long time ago before they even turned 18, let alone 21. And that was one of the things that on my 21st birthday, I was thinking to myself, like, dang, like, I thought that I was going to be dead long before I turned 18, but here I am, 21 years old, in recovery, and doing things like going to a meeting and going to a Super Bowl party with a couple of my friends afterwards and hanging out with them and staying clean versus being 6 feet under somewhere because I ended up succeeding that time and overdosing and dying. So, like, I had experiences when I was using, doing just dumb things that definitely could have killed me besides just the drugs I was using. Like, trying to think of something I did. So one time when I was with my friends, I decided that, it'd be a smart idea for me while I was high to go out and drive somewhere. And that ended up resulting in us almost crashing the car and dying. And I ended up having to pull over and let her take over and drive. So that's one experience where I definitely could have killed myself. And a couple of my buddies there who have ridden with me behind the wheel of a car before can tell you that I still to this day would probably kill you if I was driving. That's why I don't have my license yet. And I'm still working on that one. But today I actually have people who are willing to help me learn to drive and learn to be able to do the things that I want to do in life. When 2 years ago, I didn't have that hope. I did not have any hope whatsoever. And I was just in a very painful spot in my life. And one of the best things that I ever learned is that hope stands for hold on, pain ends. And that's definitely one of the biggest things that recovery has taught me, is that as long as I have hope and as long as I keep feeding my spirit and doing the things that I need to for my recovery so that I can do things like get 2 years clean while being 21 years old and start learning financial manageability, learn how to drive, get my own car, and start a career working as a peer recovery specialist, then there definitely is hope out there, as long as I just continue to do the things that I need to do to feed my spirit and for my recovery. So I'm going to turn it back over to John or Marshall, whoever's going to.
Definitely not John. This is going to be a lot different from something John would ever say. But I'm Batman. It's nice to formally meet all y'all. I'm a rapper, so that probably explains everything. But I got some stickers and some business cards if any of you guys want to get with me after this, because I guarantee you there's some musicians in here. It's usually like a prerequisite to become a successful musician is do drugs. I was like looking at Jimi Hendrix and people like that. So from a young age, I was like, I got to do that. But I just turned 27, so not in the 27 club, but I outlived Mac Miller. So I come in here voluntarily. I help do the nerd stuff. I don't really get in front of the camera a lot because I talk a lot. But yeah, I have a company called White Hippie Records, and I'm on Spotify. It's pretty dope. And I just started making my own beats. So did that for my whole first album that I actually produced myself. And, I talked to people like Kasky and his producer Tasty sold me a beat pack. So there's like a lot of people that were always like idols of mine that I never thought that I would meet. But now that I've been able to do that, even when I was getting high, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know. I believe more in myself nowadays because I think recovery is nice in terms of, you got to check me out on Spotify. You don't have to find all that when you get out of here. But because this is the realness. This is behind the scenes. You got to like to get this ticket. You got to do something to get here. You know what I'm saying? This is a lot harder than going to a show. You know what I'm saying? Anybody can go to a show, but not a lot of people go to jail. But no, I think it's all about finding purpose in life. You know what I mean? I think like not wanting to get high is only going to get you so far in recovery. You know what I mean? Like being like, oh, I don't want to go back to jail. That's only going to last so long, in my opinion. You know what I mean? Whether you're a tattoo artist or whatever, find something that means something to you. You know what I mean? So that you can have that drive. And like, dude, I'm 11 years in. I made mixtapes for 11 years before I ever had an album out or ever had a song that I made money off of. And that's just because I knew I was going to have to sacrifice a lot of my life because I really love music. You know what I mean? And so like, I coach Anthony on making business cards and making logos and how he should train other people to, understand trans people and stuff like that. Cause that's his niche, Each of you guys got a niche. You just got to figure out what your niche is. What do you bring to the table that nobody else brings to the table? And then find out what that is and monopolize it. And don't let anybody else come for your territory. You know what I mean? It's just like selling drugs. Get your territory, find your product, and make sure nobody else can come in your game. Like, do that. And that's what I do. I learned how to do it because I've been locked up in Santa Cruz County for grand theft auto of a law enforcement vehicle. That's what I do when I smoke meth. You know what I mean? Like, I'm out there, man. You know, my mugshots are online. It's not a good look, you know? But I think the beauty of pursuing music for me in the last 4 years has been that even though I was growing pot and doing a lot of stuff that's frowned upon by the law enforcement community, like, I still had a purpose. I still made music the whole time. So they were like, oh, this guy's just doing this because it supports his music. Let's kind of leave this dude alone. I was working pop-ups. It's like we patted everybody down and checked IDs and stuff, but undercover people came in all the time. We knew we were being watched, but we were just selling good pot, you know? It was organic. And we weren't peddling stuff from Cali. But anyway, neither here nor there. You know what I mean? That's just part of my past, but that was part of my dream. You know, I was like, I wanted to have the Wiz Khalifa Snoop Dogg fantasy of like grow pot, you know what I mean? And do music. And I thought that pot was going to bring me in closer connection with God. And honestly, it's legal now. So when you get out of here, that's going to be the #1 offender to bring people back, you know, is pot. You're going to be like, oh, I'm not going to do hard stuff, but pot's not a big deal. You know what I mean? It's legal in Richmond. You know what I mean? It's legal in Virginia. You know what I mean? But honestly, man, when I know for me, like if I get a little bit high, I'm going to be like, oh man, you know, I know how to get real high. You know what I'm saying? Why am I going to waste my hard-earned money on a high that's only going to get me this high when I know how to get this high? You know what I mean? Then I'm going to end up right back in here. But I kind of had to prove to myself, like, even when I was getting high, I was like, I still want to see if I can do coke on weekends. And I did. Didn't end up in jail, but I was miserable. You know what I mean? And so it's like I was trying to prove to myself and the world on Instagram that I could successfully get high, but I was so lonely and bored and miserable. You know what I mean? That finally, that's what I came to McShin for, was weed was the only thing that I failed for on my piss test. You know what I mean? And I'm here to tell you that even if you're young and a pothead and alcohol and weed is your only problem, or you feel like, oh, I'm just going to go smoke weed and stuff, that's plenty to qualify you in recovery. You know what I mean? You don't have to be a tweaker or a dope fiend to get in recovery. You can just have had, you know, possession of marijuana charge. I wish when I was 19 years old and had my first possession of marijuana charge, you know, back when they used to lock you up in Virginia for that, I did 3 weeks behind it. You know, I wish someone had told me, man, that's enough. Like, that's plenty. Like, you don't have to become a dope fiend like us. I remember going into NA meetings and everyone was talking about heroin from Baltimore. And I was like, man, I got to do heroin from Baltimore or else I'm not going to belong with these guys. So I went out and I did it. You know what I mean? And so I think the #1 thing in our community, even if you don't intend on staying in our community, is just tell people it doesn't have to get worse before it gets better. You know what I mean? Like, this could be as low as it goes for you. You know what I mean? So that's kind of all I got. Thanks. Oh, yeah, Steve. Go, Steve. Yeah.
There we go. Want to hear it? Hello, I'm Steve. I'm behind the camera so much I forgot that I'm real, so I don't know if you guys can see me or not, or hear me. First thing I'd like to say, I'm really glad to see 2 of these guys here. I'm not going to call them out individually, but we've known each other, and I'm seeing them here. I know that they have a chance, and I know they both got recovery in them, like a chance for a life and a real life. I work at McShin now. I've been there almost a year and a half. I've ended up in the media section here because it's awesome. It's fun. I started helping out the other guy that was here with me before, and he's gone, so now I'm doing it. And I work with some really cool people every day. Like, it's an assortment of characters you couldn't just assemble. They just come together. It's really strange. But I'd like to shout out Clay, Travis, and Mark, who I know are watching because we got comments from them. So I see you guys. But we have a really good program there. It's amazing. You come in, all you have to have is sobriety and willingness, and you'll end up doing something that you didn't think you could do before. Like, I can't tell my whole story here, take all day, but it started out with, and I think we're still on, yep, weed, alcohol, and all that. Ends up with heroin and crack, pretty much, daily, constantly, every day. So all I could do, just barely keeping a job and keeping a paycheck for years, was like my maximum achievement. Now I've been clean for 3.5 years this time around. So I appreciate that. My job is crazy. Like, we're doing a podcast in the afternoon. On the weekends, I'm kind of in charge of the building for whatever happens. Then that could involve going out on a hike with guys and showing them that life is good out there without being on a phone or being on drugs. Or it could be Narcaning somebody in the bathroom for real. And that happened a couple weeks ago. That's keeps it real for me. Like, I did recovery before a few times. I had a few years clean, but I didn't do it all the way. If you keep a reservation, you will end up back where you started from, and it's worse each time, no doubt. I've got my family now. My son is proud of me. My family is proud of me. It takes a while. It really does take a while. They start to believe in you again. And the more they believe in you, the less you want to let them down, because I've done that before. And you get that trust back. You don't want to give it up again. It starts to feel better and better. John is correct about the recovery high. It is better than the other high. And I've really tried them all. So that's all I've got for right now. So thank you.
Keep it real. I want to share a quick story with you. You know, when we started McShin 20 years ago this March, we started, some of you heard the story, in a 56 square foot office. No vision, no money, no business plan, just a couple addicts want to help people. You know, we've done pretty good over the last 20 years. And one thing that's always eluded us, we can raise some money, we can sell some services. We've had a couple really good contributions over the year. We've done good. We scramble. We're frugal people, As you know, I retired at the end of the year in December. And, we left McShin. Well, I left, but they're just doing incredible. There's 25 employees, $3.5 million a year budget, 16 recovery houses. We're in institutions. We run full-time programs in some jails. But this podcast, we give this to every jail and prison in America. We get millions of views a year now. We're in all 50 states. But one thing we never got was, how do you get a big donation, a big contribution? You read about it all the time, people giving money out. Well, about a year ago, our CEO applied for a grant with Mackenzie Scott, which is, I think, Jeff Bezos' divorced wife, and she gives money away every year. And she applied for $1 million grant, which is a lot of money. And Sunday night, she called me and said, "John, man, you ain't gonna believe this. We got the grant, but they gave us $2 million. They thought so much of us in our mission. We got $2 million. And she said, man, they put the money in the bank already." So McShin, I'm really proud to say we got our first large grant this past week, an unrestricted $2 million grant. And that speaks volumes for not only us, but the people we serve. And that's a bit of good news. Now, I like to think we have high-class problems sometimes being in long-term recovery. But now we got some good problems at McShin, So I'd like to see what the board does with that money. But so there's a dream hit in here. No matter who you are, what your vision is, what your dream is, these guys, you heard them, they're starting out on their dreams and their visions. Me and Marshall started out 35, 40 years ago. Dreams do come true. Visions do materialize. That boy, Henry, you ought to hear some of that stuff he does. I'm not a rapper. It's like scratching on a chalkboard for me. But I got to admit, it ain't bad, man. I can listen to it. I'm thinking, shit, Henry, you got talent, man. And I've seen Steve, the way he can reach people in that audio room we got. We got a nice setup at McShin. We get 4 or 5 people hanging out in there half a day, chewing the fat. You can see them growing and getting recovery and goddamn Anthony, man, he's a genius. You know, how many kids, 21 years old, trans, that all of a sudden they get that purpose? Oh my God, I almost died many times over. I can help people. Jay, he didn't mention this, but just last week, he's driving an hour and a half one way for a job that pays really good money. But the boss was abusing him. So he said, you know what? I don't need this shit. I don't, I'm going to just do better than this. And then to watch Gavin almost kill himself and die, and the family, to watch them light up when their son lives. There's just so many miracles, so many visions, so much hope. Never forget that any addict can stop using drugs, lose that desire to use drugs, and find a new way to live. And by finding that new way to live, keeps us off the obsession to use and keeps us from going back. So me and Marshall have been doing this a long time. We've seen hundreds of people in the same situation you're in. You hang in there like we hang in there, like they hang in there. Man, things do get better. Things do materialize. Yes, it's a day at a time. We can do anything a day at a time. If you can do a day at a time in here, you can do a day at a time out there. I promise you that. Marshall, what do you got, buddy?
Steve. Yeah. As I was listening to Henry share, I think about me, the time I was in the penitentiary, man, I learned how to cut hair, Spring Street. They had a barber shop. You could take, can become certified. You can get your license. You know what I'm saying? And I thought about the process I went through. When I was down in jail, they were putting tape on a razor blade and put it on a comb. Yeah, that's what he said. He said, yeah, that's how you got to fade. You know what I mean? I learned how to plait hair. When I was in the penitentiary, man, I had a bush bigger than his. I learned how to plait, And I just think about, man, what you can learn to do when you're in a facility like this. Man, Steve knew a little bit about this. We got you, Jarvis. Okay, Steve knew a little bit about this, but now he's the guy, So, man, it's always our pleasure coming in here, and we'll be back. Okay. Yeah. Way to go, Steve.